Hey, what's up people, it's TTC. Today we're going to have a look at the Marvel Legends No Way Home Tom Holland version of Spider-Man. Now I'll say right off the bat, it probably wasn't my favourite movie in the world, but I absolutely love this design for Spider-Man. It walks the line perfectly between like a classic comic book look and, you know, the sort of real life MCU-ified kind of look. I actually really like the first suit that he wore in Civil War, and this one is even an improvement on that. I really like how they weren't too shy to go for like a super vibrant red with this. Whereas like other costumes like Deadpool or whatever, they toned it right down. I think Spider-Man just needs that really bright, sort of child-friendly colour scheme, and this figure right here, they got it spot on. Now let's not forget the blues as well. I mean, obviously we're going to be really nitpicky here, but sometimes the blue can be just slightly too bright, or even just slightly too dark. Everybody's got their own perfect mental image of this guy. And I honestly think that this is pretty damn close to what I picture in my mind. Man, I need to buy me some kind of rotating turntable or something. The web lines are done really well on this figure. It helps that it's not one of those super over busy designs where there's just webs going everywhere. Like this one's obviously a bit more subtle. And for the most part, they're done really cleanly. The red parts of his costume have got that sort of subtle, sort of basketball kind of fabricy texture that you get on the movie costumes. I'm actually quite a fan of that, it just adds a little bit of realism, but if you don't like it, then it's not all super in your face on this guy. See, if you look super close on his arm there is the odd web line where the paint is just slightly off, it's just kind of missed the mark a little bit. The red part on his abdomen is actually painted that colour, whereas the rest of it is all moulded in red plastic. Colour-wise, it matches up pretty well, but man, that makes me nervous, because there is nothing I hate more than paint scuffing. Luckily, it seems to be holding up pretty well so far. Alright, once you do start getting a bit closer and having a bit of an inspection, there are a few more web lines that I've actually kind of missed. It's maybe not quite as clean as I thought it was to begin with. There's the odd little bit, just like sort of around the elbow here, and maybe down some of the arms. It's not quite right. The worst part for me is actually on his neck. You see here, some of the lines have actually kind of just like smushed up together. Which is weird, because for the most part, around his neck, it's all in the right place, and then it just slightly misses that line there, and then a little bit further on that one, and then they sort of like catch up to each other here at the seam. It is annoying, but I mean, at least it looks fine from the front, right? And I think this line running around the top of the boots, that looks like it's not quite printed right either, although I've never looked that closely at his feet, to be honest with you. It could be supposed to be like that, but I don't think so. Now, the proportions on this guy aren't bad. You can definitely see that it's a younger, slimmer guy in the suit. But the knees I don't look too bad on camera, but to me, the knees are really low. A lot of Marvel Legends figures have this when they have the double-jointed knee, and if you bend it, you can see, I don't know, to me, that looks like it's bending way too far down the leg. The legs do look good in general, though. Like I said before, I'm a big fan of this choice of blue. The legs are actually cast in that plastic, and then this part of the torso is where it's painted blue. I think. Some of it's painted blue or whatever, but for some reason, it's a totally different shade. Like, just that part of the torso is like really shiny and metallic, and then the legs are more dull. And then it goes back to dull again at the top of the torso. I mean, what's that about? Back of the figure's looking good though. I really like this version of the spider logo. And I think they did the best job they could with putting a butterfly joint through this really complicated design. I do find myself though being really anal and trying to line up all these web lines. And then you turn it around the front and then it doesn't quite match up, so then you got to go back and just adjust it again. And then it's nearly there. It's not quite right though. I mean, I spend way too much of my time just moving these bloody shoulders backwards and forwards and just trying to get this right. I'm a big fan of how they update this spider logo and give it much longer, pointier legs. I mean, it just looks better than the round, fat one that you usually get on a classic Spider-Man. No shade to any fat spiders out there, I just think this looks more dynamic. And they did do a good job of this. They've painted it so the legs still go all the way through the joint, but obviously if you turn it, it is going to break up the design, but what are you going to do? I think one of the most important things on a Spider-Man is you've got to get the mask right, and no complaints. That's definitely what they've done here. This is really good. You can definitely see from the shape of it that there's a head under there, you know, you've got just enough of a nose and some ears to sort of make that out. And the web lines on the mask are thankfully spot on clean. Personal preference for me, I just prefer Spider-Man to have bigger, sort of more modern eyes, whereas these are more classic looking. The black outline on the eyes is painted just Perfect, there we go. Thank God for that, because I've had so many Spider-Man figures over the years where they're misaligned or they're bleeding into the white. And speaking of the white, it's got sort of like a metallic pubescent paint to it, which is really nice. If you look super closely, there is one tiny little white dot just in the middle of that line going across his mouth. Don't know what it is. I can't scrape it off. Suppose I could paint over it with a proper tiny little paintbrush, but if you know me by now, I am way too lazy for that. Now, I'm not really one to go over all the articulation on a figure, but obviously it's quite important with a Spider-Man, and this guy, he's got quite a lot to him, you know? He's pretty damn flexible. I think the best thing about him is these drop-down hips that he's got here. Whoever invented these is a genius. You get so much more range going forward, you get some really nice high kicks going like that, and then pull them down a bit further and you can get some really good splits going too. Basically, I think these are probably essential for any really agile characters. See, because having that extra little bit of clearance for more articulation leaves a giant gap in the crotch. And that doesn't look good at all, does it? All you gotta do is push them back up again and there you go, fixed. Smart. Alright, let's embarrass myself getting him into a really crap pose here. Yep, this is bad, but you know, you get the gist of it, right? You can almost get him into a sort of all hands and feet on the ground pose. Be better with the other hand, but I'll get to that in a minute. But the biggest issue with that, other than lack of toe articulation, is the head. It doesn't really look up very far at all. So when you've got him like this, which, let's face it, he looks more like a gorilla or a frog or something than Spider-Man, but whatever, you can't get him looking forward or up at all. It's not great, is it? If you had a decent bit of string or some fishing wire or something like that, it would look good sort of just like hanging upside down from a web like this though. Accessories-wise, he comes with loads of different hands, which is really nice. It's got two sort of splayed out, kind of wall-crawling hands, two fists, and then two web-shooting hands as well, and it's really nice to have just all those different options. You can get him in a pretty decent web-shooting pose, or have him crawling up a wall, or when all your spider powers fail you, you just punch a guy in the fucking face. He also comes with his unmasked Tom Holland head, and I have really strongly mixed feelings about this. I mean, you can't deny, it is a well-done head sculpt, it looks exactly like him, and this face printing technology that they're using just keeps getting better and better. The eyes are still got a slight bit of lifelessness to them, but other than that, I mean, look at it, it is really well done. It's just, man, I can't stand Tom Holland. He just proper gets on my nerves as how he plays Spider-Man as being like a 12-year-old idiot. Like, he just seems so young and stupid and he's got no idea what he's on about. Super big doe-eyed little boy, he always needs rescuing. And the movies are good, right, but he's just not my Spider-Man, unfortunately. Oh, Mr. Stark, please sir, can I have some more? The hair is actually a separately sculpted piece that's been glued on. It's got a nice sculpt to it, can't deny that, but it is just done in that one brown plastic, so it's missing a bit of shading. Luckily though, thanks to all the different strands of hair and all the texture, it does sort of just naturally pick up light here and there, so it's not the end of the world, but definitely could be better. Again, I'm just not a fan of this haircut on Peter Parker. I mean, I know I'm going to make myself sound really old now, but this just seems like a young guy, floppy, curly. Get a haircut, man. I know it's not all Tom Holland's fault, a lot of it is writing and direction or whatever, but if they could just age him up a bit, which I believe they are going to do, then that would be so much better than this little Cockney, chimney sweep, Oliver Twist version of Spider-Man that we've got right now. I've always thought that this head that come from the Bruce Banner that come in the 2-pack with the Grey Hulk, I always thought this would be a really good head for Peter Parker. Like, obviously, facial-wise, it looks a bit miserable, but this is sort of closer to what I picture. Spider-Man should be more of like a sciencey loser nerd than the cool guy playing with the Death Star Lego set or whatever. This would probably work pretty well if it wasn't for the fact that he's got the longest neck you've ever seen. Oh, see, the glasses make it look even better too. This is what Tom Holland was missing. Even if he ended up taking them off at some point, he should have at least had glasses to begin with. I wonder if these will fit on that head. With him having such a classic design for this costume, he does actually fit in pretty well with all your comic characters too. Here he is with the Ultimate Captain America, and to be honest with you, that's where he sits in my collection. I don't really have an MCU collection. I just fit in the odd one here and there if I like the figure, and this works spot on if you ask me. And he's still got enough extra textures and line work to fit in with all the MCU figures as well. Here we got Wasp from Quantum Mania. and the sort of Endgame, but it wasn't Endgame, but it was from Endgame, but not really Endgame, War Machine. And for another teenage superhero is the McFarlane Tim Drake Robin. Obviously they're a 7-inch scale over the 6-inch of Marvel Legends, so he looks massive! And here he is with a 3 3/4 droid STAP, S-T-A-P, the droid lawnmower thing from Phantom Menace. And believe it or not, I've got absolutely no Spider-Man villains to compare him to, because let's upset the internet here, I don't really like any of them. I know everyone thinks he's got the greatest rogues gallery in comics. Nah, totally disagree, I'm afraid. I like Venom and Green Goblin, you know, they're pretty cool, and I might pick them up at some point. Other than that though, I'm just not really feeling a sort of lizard guy and a sort of electric guy. And don't forget the major league threat that is some sand. But here we go, let's make up for all the really crap posing that I did in this video. We got him here beating up just a random thug, played here by Mr. Jonathan Moxley. I'm actually quite proud of this. Everyone's just really well balanced here and he's not going to fall off. It'd be good if I had some kind of web or something to wrap around the guy's face that would make this complete. Don't forget to like this video, drop us a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Plenty more videos coming, loads more Marvel Legends, and probably more of me complaining about celebrities. They all suck, man. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.